What's up, me Peanut here again, and I have my Ranger again. I did a video on this the other day. I don't know if I uploaded it or not. If not, I'll add this onto it. I was trying to take up slack in the triggers, which I did. The triggers are nice and tight now. Snug. They still work just like they should. But what bothers me is when I hit this lever, okay, the safety doesn't go all the way on. Well, oh, there it did. Now listen. See, it's just a little bit more it needs to go. I don't know if there's anything I can do for it. There it went all the way on. What's up with that? So the first shot, it doesn't. If I do it again, oh, nope, still doesn't go on all the way. There's a little rod that pushes that back. That rod's under. Got a spring, it's under tension, there's a screw. I know I can take it apart. Just not sure if I can get it back together, if I compress the spring far enough to get the block on, to get the screw back in. But we're going to tear it apart and we're going to take a look at it. So I managed to get the safety switch out, which was kind of a booger. There were 3 pieces, a tiny indent, a tiny spring, and a tiny set screw. So small you can barely see them. I'd pick them up, but I'd be afraid to lose them. There's the camera. Can you see that tiny set screw in there? The spring's just as tiny, I don't want to pick it up. And a really tiny indent. If I lose them, I'm screwed. I'll have to pin it. What I'm going to try to do is just put a spot of weld on that to build that up. Just a tiny hair on that safety lever, because that rod's too short and I can't take the rod out. So I'm going to do that now. Boy, I hope I can get that back together. So I got my tiny little bit of weld on there. I hope that's enough. Time to put her back together if I can. Okay, I'm going to try to show you this tiny little screw that I took out. So figure out where the camera is. It's this screw right below the safety switch. It's a tiny little screw. The camera won't even focus on it. I was able to get a pair of eyeglass screwdrivers on it, a screwdriver, a pair of vice grips for a little leverage, and it came right out tiny, very tiny, and a tiny little spring and a tiny little detent that serves as, well, there it's cocked so I can't move the safety. This serves as the click between safe and unsafe, and I think I got it working. As long as my release lever goes back to center, it works. For some reason it gets sloppy and it doesn't quite go back to center, it's not going to work. Now, I do hear a click. That's what I wanted. The safety is on. foregrip on. Put some cleaner on it, and I wanted to keep my wood safe. The cleaner I keep it, the easier that fork or that release lever is going to spin. I don't know if you're going to hear it. There, you kind of heard it. It won't go back any farther. So that's the little rod inside there. See that? Oh, there goes my cleaning rod. I had the option of taking that out and making it longer, but there's this block that screws fast underneath this release lever. It holds springs for these strikers, Sears, I guess that's a Sears, and it holds a coil spring for, or just regular round spring for this lever. Let's make it spring back. I didn't want to take that off because I didn't think I could get it back on. Not with all two springs and the tension and getting the screw in there. So I had to take the safety button off, but the safety button did come off. Kudos to whoever made this. I'm pretty sure it's a Sears, but whoever made it, they put a little screw with a detent that you could take the safety lever out and you could make some adjustments. And I did. And so far, without the stock on it, that's working just like it should have. Just like it did when it was brand new. The safety goes all the way on, just like it should. Doesn't travel any farther. And the safety works with that lever. Well, just with the lever where it was, I can take the safety off. Snappity, snappity. It's a little scary doing this. The old guns, especially when you got tiny parts like that. I could have just easy stripped the head off that bolt. I could have pulled that little tiny bolt out. Oh god, it's tiny. If I had my mic, I measured it. And a tiny little spring could have went popped out. I had to use a really powerful magnet to get the spring out and to get the detent out, whether they were in a bind or whatever. But I wiggled the safety latch around and I got it so the pressure was loose, and I used a magnet so they wouldn't go flying, and if they did, the magnet would catch it. This is a pretty strong magnet. It would catch a tiny flying spring. So I did it safely. I'm learning. Keep a magnet around. It catches stuff. I think I got it fixed. I'm going to put the stock all back together, and I'm going to do a final go through and see what I think. Okay, so after putting it back together, cocking it, now with all that's going on here, I can't hear this click, but I know it is because it's going back all as far as it can go. The triggers are on safe. I push that where it audibly clicks forward. Boom goes the dynamite. So I fixed it. It has to audibly click back because after I cock it, it audibly clicks forward to release the safety. So I fixed it. It bothered me. I thought there was something I could do, and it turns out there's something I was. If you're brave enough to get in there and tear a 50, 60-year-old gun apart, I fixed it. It's as good as new, you know, that safety is. It actually slides easier too. There's some burrs on it I filed down. It's in there. It's not coming out. That detent's in there to keep it from coming out. There's a little S there for when it's on safe. I'm much happier now. Maybe it's the OCD in me. It worked fine the way it was, but it's better now. See? Safety will not go back any farther. There's no audible click. It had already clicked. You just can't hear it. Nothing. Now it'll click going forward. Did you hear that? If I felt it and I heard it, boom goes the dynamite. No more double trouble for me today. Thanks for watching.